For a quick recap, yesterday we learned about the secret of credit card funding. We also learned about the difference between the statement closing date, the payment due date, which is 21 days later, and we also learned about if you use those two things, you can have a 50-day interest-free loan, and even better, how to give yourself 12 months or more of interest-free loans using credit cards. This was all talked about yesterday. We also talked about using credit to buy assets, not liabilities, collecting points from your credit cards for free hotels and flights, and profit from your assets. And if that weren't good enough, all of that was to the point of how you can use that for your financial freedom, accomplishment, achievement, and journey. So today, we're talking about an even better side of credit. We'll take this a step further. We're unlocking an entirely new world of credit into one that doesn't negatively affect your personal credit. But before we get there, there's some things that you should understand about personal credit. And of course, I have my notes here, so I'm going to be looking down, but I'm also wanting you to take notes because this is some important stuff. You already know that you should never miss a payment on your personal credit cards. The next most important factor is how much of your available credit you should use. Maxing out your credit limit on your personal credit cards will lower your score temporarily but dramatically. Never max out your credit cards on your personal credit because they don't want you to seem like you need all of the credit limit. That makes you look like you're desperate. I mean, just imagine someone lent you $100 this week and then next week I came to you for $200. How would that look? I would look like I'm desperate, right? But many people use credit cards this way and they look desperate, which is why they don't get more and more money on their personal credit cards. Ideally, if your credit limit is $10,000, then they don't want you to use more than $1,000. Ideally, they actually want you to use maybe like $400 max, but they're okay if you use up to $3,000 off that $10,000. Now you can see that that's a problem, because if you are going to get $10,000 from your personal credit card, then you would need a credit limit of $30,000 without it seriously negatively affecting your credit. That's a problem. Now that we understand why that's a problem, let's introduce the world of business credit, because business credit solves that problem, which is the fastest way that you can get high credit limits using business credit. It is the sexy type of credit building that you need to triple, 10x your access to funds. So we're going to talk about business credit. I'm going to show you how it works, how to get into it, some cards I would recommend, some banks I would recommend, and we're going to go step by step by the end on how you can actually start your business credit line. So, an entirely different world. Here are some things that you should understand about business credit. Business credit reports to separate credit agencies. You already know Equifax, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Those are the three. I repeat them: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Business credit reports to Dun and Bradstreet, so they don't report to the same agencies. And your business credit score is called a paydex score, so they're not on the same trajectory at all. They're not on the same plane. Your paydex score is out of 100, 0 to 100. Yesterday you learned that your personal credit score is between 300 and 850. Business credit is totally separate, which makes it beautiful for several reasons. So I'm going to show you this. There are some major banks that do not report to personal credit at all. Bank of America, they don't report to your personal. Citi, Bank, PNC, and Wells Fargo, they all have business credit cards that do not report to your personal credit at all. Then we have banks that only report to your personal credit if your account defaults or you miss a payment or something negative. American Express is one, JP Morgan is one, US Bank is another, and Capital One Spark Cash Plus card for business does not report to your personal unless you miss a payment or something bad happens. Of course, that doesn't happen to us and the people in the Freedom Challenge because we are smart with how we use our money. But understanding this is important, right? So that if you're looking for these banks, this separates your personal and your business credit. This is great news because this is exactly what we're looking for. That means if you have a $10,000 limit on your credit card and you use all of it to kickstart and grow your business and you max out that business credit card, none of that info is reported to your personal card. None of it. which means that you can max out your business credit cards or multiple of them to try and grow your business over 1, 2, 5 years. This is the beauty of the difference between personal and business credit. This is the beauty of business credit. I hope you're understanding this. This is very important for you to understand. This is the sexy type of credit. This is the type of credit I love, which is why we're getting into it so soon. It is life-changing, it is mind-boggling why more people don't know this, but here you are on the Freedom Challenge, you get to know the inside information. So then, combining what we learned yesterday, if you have 0% interest APR for 12 months on a $10,000 card, what can you do with it? You can buy 3 ATMs, 2 ATMs, 5 vending machines. You could perhaps buy a house. This is the type of math that we are talking about. Using 0% interest on a business credit card with a high limit, those unlock much, much, much faster ways to access financial freedom. That's what we're talking about. But it gets better. Earlier we said that banks don't want to use all of your credit limit, right? We said that. Banks don't want to use all of your credit limit for your personal credit cards. They want you to use less than 30% or even less than 10%. But business credit cards do not work that way. Why? Because banks understand that businesses spend money to earn more money. They want you to give you more money on a business card because when you spend money on a business credit card, they assume that you are spending money to earn more money. It's a different way of thinking about money. So we're going to go through how banks think about money. So the question then becomes, again, how can I spend more money? As a business, how can I spend not $10,000 next month, but $50,000? And then the month after that, how can I spend $100,000? And the bank will keep up with you. Because if you spend something on that returns money, then your payments will be higher. And you can demonstrate that, and I'll show you in a second. How can you spend more money? I told you, banks are not looking for you to keep your utilization below 30%. Instead, banks are looking for two things. They are looking for a high level of payment activity before the due date. High level of payment activity before the due date. What do these two things mean? Understanding it will skyrocket your credit limits on your business side much faster in the next few months. So, banks are looking for you to make significantly high payments before the statement due date. The first is a bit more complicated, but the second is that if you pay earlier, they like that. So if your statement is due, if your bill is due on the 26th, pay on the 19th, pay on the 15th. That looks better because it shows that you have cash before it's actually due. That's good. Here's the second, and this is a bit more complicated, so I'm going to explain. I have a nice explanation here for you. Let's say your limit is $10,000 and you use $8,000 auto pay. This is the first scenario. For this card, let's say you have 0% interest for 12 months, so that removes any interest risk for both scenarios. Now you have $8,000 due. In the first month you pay $500. The next month you pay $500. That brings your balance down to $7,000 at the end of the second month. This would show that your average payment each time that you pay is $500. Your average payment is $500. Now to the bank, that's not very high because what you're showing is that you can only afford to pay $500 each month. And that will affect how much money they want to give you the next time. But let's look at this. On the other hand, let's say you clear $3,000 on the card in the first month and $2,000 on the card in the second month. Bring your balance down to $5,000. Sorry, bring your balance down to $3,000 because you just paid off $5,000. But then you pay an additional $5,000 for some reason on your card, which brings your balance back up to $8,000. Is that better or worse? That's actually better than the first scenario. Why? Because your average payment is several times higher. Several times higher than the first. Your average payment in that case would be $2,500. So it shows that you can afford to make higher payments even though your balance is still $8,000. You are showing that you can pay more money. And banks like that. Businesses that can pay more money can have access to higher capital. I hope that is clear. You want to have higher payments. Don't pay the minimum balance. Don't pay just $500. Pay thousands off each month and you will have access to more capital. That is the ideal. If you do this for several months, your credit limits will double, triple, go tenfold. I've done this personally, so now you are getting this in the Freedom Challenge because this is what we're talking about, the real information. So, essentially, you are looking to make high average payments to show that you can afford higher credit limits. This is a new world, different from personal credit cards, and this is exactly the opportunity to grow your credit limit that is separate from your personal credit limit. So then again, the question becomes, how can you spend more money? Now that we covered the what and the why, we're going to talk about the step-by-step how, which I promised you in the beginning. The first step here is to register your business in your state. This is as simple as doing a Google search for register new business in your home state or your home country. The link you'll be looking for will be the .gov link with instructions on how to register. The site will tell you everything that you need to do. In the US, it ranges from $40 all the way up to $500. The average being around $140 to be able to register your business. It does take some money to register your business, but once you get it done, this is the first step in accessing this sexy type of business credit. Again, remember, this is for your financial freedom journey. So if you need some help with that, you can always email me, reach me at thefulauthor.com, reach me at thefulauthor.com, and I will be happy to answer your questions, no problem. Once you have your business registered, you want to get your employer identification number. This is your EIN from the government for free. Your EIN. This is free from the government. Again, it's going to be from irs.gov. You'll never have to pay for this from anybody. This is your social security number for your business. You'll need your SSN and your business registration documents for this step, from the first step, so make sure that you have that in order. And once you have your EIN, you can move on to the third step. Many people will say that you don't need to start a business. You don't need to have an EIN to start your business. But I would say don't skip this step, because once you get to the third step, it becomes very important for you to have both of them so that you don't have any issues. And of course, you want to get as big of credit limits as possible. Next, you set up your business checking account with any major bank. I like Chase Bank. It's the biggest bank in America. It's usually safe. I don't like Wells Fargo. I don't hide that, but there are other banks that you can use. And if you're using Wells Fargo, kudos. I just don't like them. And they've been shady in the past. JP Morgan though, I love that bank. You can go with Bank of America, US Bank, any bank that you want to have your business account set up. Even credit unions have this. So the business checking account should be free. There are free versions at most major banks. Be sure to do your own research. Don't be afraid to shop around. This is the third step. Have your business checking account ready, done, have all your paperwork in order. The last step will be to get your business credit card. Now again, we have a credit card cheat sheet that we have for you. It not only includes personal credit, which we talked about yesterday, but it also includes business credit, and you can have interest-free for the next 5 years of business interest-free credit. This is awesome. So then you can use that list, that cheat sheet, to look at some business credit cards that you might want to consider. But you can also Google business credit cards, 0% interest, APR for 12 months, and opening bonuses. This is very easy. You can Google this. Tons of will come up. I'll already give you some examples. JP Morgan Chase, American Express, Capital One, that special card that we talked about earlier, PNC, US Bank. These are all very good options for business credit cards that you want to take on first. I would recommend starting with not US Bank, but perhaps American Express, Chase, or even your own personal bank that you have a relationship with. Those make the most sense because you have a relationship with them. They're a lot more lenient. So now that we've covered how to get into your business credit, credit stacking is when you use multiple of these cards for interest-free payments. You use credit cards, opening bonuses, free flights, free hotels, so that over time you have a solid foundation for your business credit and personal credit success. This is fantastic information. And just to recap, your homework will be to go through these steps. So I'm going to give you your homework now. Be prepared. We're going to get into it. Number 1, register your business in your state using the instructions from above the video. Again, your freedom source of income requires that you have your business set up. So register your business. Number 2, get your EIN. Get it from the government. It's free. It's open from Monday to Friday. Get it done. No problem. Research which bank you want to set up your business checking account. Again, I like Chase. It's not a recommendation. They're not sponsoring. I just like Chase. If you want to go with your own bank, that's fine. ask them, call them about business checking, see what's required, get it done. Develop your plan for your first 5 business credit cards. You can use our cheat sheet to help. You can also just Google and see which ones that you want to start with. Again, I like starting with American Express or Chase. They just work really well. Now that we're done with business credit card, tomorrow we're going on to talk more in depth about your freedom journey. People, this is the real information. I trust that you would watch this video again and really soak in the knowledge, because tomorrow we're moving on and we come back. I will come back to tomorrow to deliver even more value to you. I'm very excited. And remember, freedom seekers, you are always one decision away. Take care.